Okay, get ready for this. What if I told you that the quiet, green world all around us isn't actually quiet at all? What if plants can hear? And what if, when they're in danger, they scream? Now, I know, it sounds like something straight out of science fiction, but we're about to dive into the incredible new science that's proving it might just be true.
So let's just get right to it with the big mind-bending question. Do plants really scream when they're in danger? And believe it or not, the answer is a resounding and kind of fascinating yes. They can, in fact, hear predators chewing on their leaves. And in response, they let out these invisible chemical warnings. This isn't just some poetic metaphor, it's turning out to be a scientific reality. And let's be clear, this isn't some fringe idea anymore. Something that was pretty much dismissed as fantasy for years has blossomed into a totally legitimate field of science. It's called plant bioacoustics. And we're talking about serious evidence-based research that is completely flipping our understanding of the plant kingdom on its head. So you have to wonder, how did we even get to this point? Let's take a look at the journey, from total skepticism to groundbreaking science. You know, this idea isn't exactly brand new. It's just been a really long time coming. The clues have been there for over a century. Way back in 1880, Charles Darwin himself was writing about how plants move in response to things like touch and light. Fast forward to the mid-20th century, and scientists found that plants have electrical signals, kind of like a nervous system, but without any neurons. But the real game changer, the moment everything clicked, was in 2014. That's when this landmark study proved that a plant could actually hear the vibrations of a caterpillar chewing on it and then launch a very specific, targeted defense. 2014. You really have to mark that year down. The research on this humble little plant, Arabidopsis thaliana, provided undeniable proof. It's what took plant bioacoustics from being a scientific curiosity and shot it right into the mainstream. It was the evidence we'd all been waiting for. Okay, so how in the world do they do it? How does a plant hear anything without ears? Let's break down the incredible mechanics behind how plants actually perceive the world. The secret weapon here is a process called mechanosensing. Now, that's a fancy word, but it just means the ability of cells to feel and react to physical force. So think of it this way. Instead of eardrums, a plant uses its entire body as a listening device. They aren't hearing sound the way we do. They are feeling the vibrations right down at the cellular level. And here's how that alarm system actually gets triggered. It's this beautiful 4-step chain reaction. First, the vibration, say from a caterpillar chewing, literally bends the plant cell walls. This pressure acts like a key, unlocking these tiny little channels in the cell. Then, calcium ions rush in. And that flood of calcium, well, that creates an electrical signal. That's the alarm bell. It's just an incredibly elegant and instant warning system, all happening on a microscopic scale. But this is where it gets really wild, their precision. Plants aren't just passively feeling everything around them, they're incredibly picky listeners. Research shows that they can tell the difference between the specific vibrational pattern of an insect chewing and, say, the harmless, random vibrations from the wind. They know the difference between a real threat and just a gentle breeze. So once a plant hears that threat, it doesn't just take it. It responds. And it responds with what you could totally call an invisible chemical scream. Now, this scream is actually a super sophisticated 2-part alarm system. On the outside, the plant releases a cloud of what scientists call volatile organic compounds, or VOCs. That's the airborne alarm. But at the exact same time, it triggers an internal defense system, a chemical signal that races through the plant's own body, basically telling every single leaf to get ready for a fight. And this airborne alarm is just brilliant. It's a multi-layered defense strategy. For one, these chemicals can directly repel the pests that's attacking. But they can also act as a beacon, summoning the cavalry, in this case, predators like parasitic wasps that will happily take care of the problem. And maybe the coolest part of all, they serve as a warning to all the neighboring plants. It's a phenomenon called eavesdropping, and it allows the entire plant community to raise its shields before the danger even gets to them. It's like a neighborhood watch system, all run by chemistry. Okay, so this is all really fascinating biology, for sure. But you might be wondering, so what? Why does any of this actually matter in the real world? What can we do with this knowledge? Well, for starters, it completely rewrites our whole concept of communication in nature. I mean, a lot of us have heard of the Wood Wide Web, right? That underground fungal network that connects trees. This research shows us there's a whole parallel network happening above ground, an airborne internet of sounds and chemical signals.
And the future applications are just mind-blowing. Imagine farms using specific sounds to repel pests instead of spraying toxic chemicals, or smart irrigation systems that can hear the ultrasonic groans of thirsty plants, saving unbelievable amounts of water. We can monitor the health of entire forests or even endangered species just by learning to listen to the symphony of sounds they're making. The potential is absolutely revolutionary. So all of this really leaves us with one final, crucial question to think about. If we are only just now learning how to listen to plants, what else is the natural world trying to tell us that we haven't yet learned to hear?